Car shows can be difficult, but they don't have to be. I'm going to give you some instructions here. They're going to help you make the best online car show experience you can possibly have. If you're watching this, chances are you're not having very much luck hosting a successful car show event on GTA. So how qualified am I to help you? Well, I've hosted and attended over thousands of car shows. I've helped lead 3 600+ car show crews, and I've been featured on Rockstar's newsletter. Currently I host around 2 car shows a week. Now, with an average of attendance of around 15 players, we've had as high as 30 players and maxed out rooms. So why am I making this video? Well, because I've been to a lot of car shows and a great many of them are failures. I want to make sure that every car show that is hosted or attended is a rewarding experience for everyone involved, because each successful car show that we have is a car show that is going to preemptively create other car shows and other car show events that people are going to want to be involved in. So for every great car show that I help create is another 50 to 100 car shows that are going to be generated from it. Okay, so the first mistake that any potential car show host makes is that they see someone posting a show or an event and think, wow, that's really easy. They never even attend a show. They just see the post and say, hey, I can do that. Let's do it right now. They put together an event, and then 2 minutes after the show started, they ask themselves, why didn't anybody show up? Well, let's be honest, why would they? I mean, if you want people to invest in you, you're going to need to first invest in them. The first thing you're going to want to do with any of these car shows is attend their car shows. Start getting that sort of attendance. So what car shows should you attend? All of them. Every car show that you attend, every time you attend a car show, is going to generate some sort of buzz towards the kind of car shows that you A, want to be a part of, and B, the kind of car shows that you want to generate yourself. So show up for all of them. And when you show up, bring a notebook. Every time you see something that you see in the car show that's good, write it down. Make it part of the kind of car show that you want to hold, and make sure that that is something that's successful. And if there are things that you see that you don't like, write that down too. Remember, it's just as important to do things that people like as it is that things that people don't like. The trick is that you need to be invited to shows. And once you're being invited to shows all the time, you now have the kind of presence you need to even start to focus on your own stuff. You need to earn it. Don't expect people to give it to you. One trick that I do is every time that I am attending a car show, I bring a notebook with me. And in that notebook, I'm going to jot down every tactic or technique or any show event that works that helped make the show better. And on the other part of the paper, I'm going to write down what didn't work. I'm going to write down what people like and what people don't like. So at the end of the day, when I do my car show, I'll have removed the things that don't work and influence the things that did. Make that a part of your everyday car show event tactic. Is not just a host. Even now that I host most of my shows, I still get very excited and go out and try to find other car shows that people who currently host right now, go to their shows and get more notes. There's always room to learn more things that are going on that you may not have thought of. And that's the idea, is if you want to have good car shows and have a lot of people attend, you want to make sure that it's always a new event. There's something new and original that hasn't been done 2 shows ago, because trust me, this is an environment that gets flooded with junk. So make sure that your car show is different and that it's fun to be at. The show is much the attendee as it is the host. When advertising your show, find the locations with the best quality. If you're attracting a lot of people who ruin your car show, you may want to consider a different venue. The eventuality is that to have 30 quality friends is a good amount to have available for every car show you attend. So once you have 30 quality friends or 30 people that you know are going to show up on a regular basis and support your events, then you have a good kind of marginal area to begin to promote your own events. What are your optional areas to describe an event at? GTA forums are usually good. They always have some sort of show event area in the online area. A lot of people tell me that Reddit is good. Social Club is there, and use it as a resource, but it's one of those things that I've seen more advertising and more phishing than I see people that are actually vested in doing something. So when you advertise, make sure you find a place that's quality, that's going to give you results. And again, that advertising is backwards, because at the beginning of your onset, you're going to look for events and join those events and see how those events turned out. So if you keep joining events on Social Club and every time you go to them, those events are junk, then you don't want to host on that area, because those same junk people that junk those events out are going to eventually come over to your events and junk your event out. Or they're going to say that you don't want to run your event right. So what you're going to want to do is find places that push the kind of events you want to be at the same time is a place that it'll be easy for you to push the kind of events that you like, because they're the same kind of people. Makes it easy. So you think, once I got 30 friends, I'm ready to host, right? Well, not quite yet. The first question you're going to ask is, what are you doing at the event? Don't throw your show together and then have it out there to say, I don't know what I'm doing, and just get in the room and kind of try it. You should have a very good idea of what's going to happen during your event. Check your notes. What activities were successful and the ones that you attended, and have at least 3 or 4 activities ready to go and 2 or 3 backup of activities ready to go. So once you had 2 or 3 fun activities, you can get creative and now do ideas that nobody else has done before. So if you're having trouble picking activities, drag racing and car shows are just the key. Everybody does it, and everybody likes it. It's always so, I mean, you can do a drift event and screw that up. You can do other events and screw them up. But you can't go wrong with a drag event. Whether you do a straight drag where people just race and they have fun talking, or if you have one where you ladder it, or if you do a point system, you're doing something that people are being competitive in and it's keeping them busy. So a lot of people ask me, what can poison my car show? What's going to ruin my car show before it gets started? First impressions are key. If you have to ask, are they having fun? You've already failed. If they're leaving and starting other car shows, ask yourself, what did you do wrong? If someone comes into your show and they say, hey, I'm having another car show right over here, and nobody leaves the room, you're obviously doing your car show right, because you have something that people want to stay at. It's those first impressions that somebody comes into a room and they go, I love being here, I'm not leaving. And those are the shows that you want to make and create. So if you have to ask, am I doing a car show, or what do you guys like, or how does this work, you're already failing. They came to your car show because you're the leader, you're taking over, you're making this happen. Reward them. Every car show that I have ever seen fail had one common factor, and that was stagnation. If you're sitting around talking and not doing anything, you're already not having a car show. When you're standing around in your free roam and people aren't giving any activities, they start creating their own activities. And these activities are going to be blowing up cars, or shooting people, or going on the free roam missions that are in the lobby. If they're doing free roam missions in the lobby, you really have to ask yourself how much control you actually have. And that stagnation is going to tear your show apart. So that brings us to the ultimate test, and that's control. That begins with good rules and clear instructions. No shooting, for instance. One shot equals tons of shots, and if you have one person open up on fire, it's going to break itself apart. If somebody does start shooting, boot them. Get them out there as soon as you can, and make sure that that's an ideology that everybody in the group shares. Let them know. It says, just ask them, and ask it in almost a rhetorical sense, and say, If somebody starts shooting in this room, what are you guys going to do? We don't know. All right, how about we boot them? That's a question that they filled in their head, and they go, I know what to do when a bad person happens. And then you don't have to ask them, they're already doing it. Or if you're saying that one person shooting, you can go out there and just go, hey, let's boot that guy, and they know exactly what to do. Make sure you're clear on the instructions of how to boot somebody too. And once you've created etiquette, people will support your show. Watch other great leaders in shows in action, and it's easy to see why they control the show environment. Why, for them, their event is in complete control. Nobody doubts who the leader is in the show, and they always go to that person almost naturally and say, hey, what do we do here? What do we do here? How does this work? How does this work? That person is in control of the show, whether they said anything or they did nothing. So that's so important to have at your show, and what will eventually be the thing that brings you from being just some poor guy doing a little bitty show with 2 or 3 players to somebody who can fill up a room of 30 players and do it naturally or organically, as some people call it. One time I attended a show, and the person there had armed guards, and they were shouting instructions to everybody there. This is not control. Control has nothing to do with the potential to shoot members or be in passive mode the whole time. If they're asking you to be in passive mode the whole time, it's the first thing that makes me go, whoa, wait a minute, why do I need to be? Do you guys shoot each other a lot? Is that the whole intent of the game, the second I come out of passive? If I can have, and I've done this before, I've gone into one of my car shows with a $9,000 bounty and did the whole car show and got my $9,000 at the end of it. I even had somebody say, hey, I want to get rid of that bounty off you to make sure that nobody does shoot you. And I said, don't worry about it. Trust me, it'll be there when the game ends. And I never got killed. If you can do that in a car show, you've got control. You've got a good group. That is the kind of people you want to play with. And honestly, if you're the attendee of an event and you've shot other people or rammed their cars or been that kind of problematic player, don't ask, why did you boot me? You should know why you got booted. And I find it a lot of times that people who tell me, I don't understand why I got booted from the car show. Really? Was it the 5th or 6th request where somebody said don't shoot somebody, or the 10th or 9th time where someone looked over and said, hey, you're ramming somebody or ruining their event, or hit somebody in an impromptu race, or just been painful to be there? It shouldn't be any shock. If you're going to troll the event, you're going to get booted. So expect it. So now you've attended a ton of car shows. You have a list of events that work and activities you're going to do during the show, and you have at least 30 friends. Hopefully at this point you've joined some sort of car show crew or group that fits what you like and what your goals are in your show hosting experience. Now you need to set up your event. So let's set it up in a way that it's going to be a successful event right out of the gate. The first thing you're going to want to do is announce your show at least a week in advance. Give everybody a chance to show and plan accordingly so they know this is when the show is happening. If they have any questions beforehand, they're getting excited, they're knowing when that time is. If it's longer, people tend to forget. If you launch a show a month away, people are not going to remember to I know I don't. I want to be at a show, I put it on my calendar, and suddenly I'm out someplace going, wow, that show's tonight, I forgot. If you make it too short, people don't have the ability to plan, so they say they ruin it out. If they've ruled it out, then they can't do the show because of the short notice, or they don't have a car, or they remember cars cost money in this game. So if I want to have a coupe and I don't have a coupe, I got to buy it, I got to upgrade it, and I got to spend a ton of money testing paint jobs on it to make it look perfect. Give them the ability to plan for the event and be ahead of the event, and give them at least 48 hours to do that, optimally a week. So what does your announcement include? Well, first it's going to have a date. Then it has to have a time. And one thing I see everybody screw up on the time is your time zone. Remember that people on these platforms are from around the world. They don't have the exact same watch that you do. If you can't do conversions, then give them the length of time to the next show. If it'll be 3 roads down the road, or hey, it's 4 hours from now, so whatever time it is now, add 4 hours to it, you're ready to go. Make sure that they're aware of that time and they know when to ask you and how to get there. Your username with the platform. If somebody is on an Xbox and you're advertising on a PS4 forum and you don't put your Xbox there and tons of people want to show up to the show and you realize, whoa, you're not even on the same system, what are you doing? It's breaking you up, it's hurting you, it's going to destroy your potential to be somebody great in the car show thing. Change it up. Make sure that they know where you're at, what time, what system. And lastly, and probably most importantly, what's the car show going to be about? What is it going to be, a drag event? What should I bring to it? Let them know how they can prepare themselves. So is it a sport drift event or is it a stance event? Can people bring their supercars? And lastly and mostly, if they have any questions about that, how do they ask? Do you have a way of them contacting you? Should they hit you up on Xbox or on the forum you're at or in your Rockstar newsletter account? How are they going to get in touch with you? And make sure that you're replying to those comments when you get them and being engaged with these people so that you can reward them and say, hey, I didn't know when the car show was. The other thing is people are going to ask stupid questions. Don't take it personal. You don't know where they got it from. They could have heard it 3 people down and said, hey, there's some event going on Wednesday and here's the guy's username, because you gave them good information, and they're going to ask you something like, when is the event, what time is it, and what kind of cars am I bringing? And you're going to re-announce that event all over. If people are asking you what the event is going to be about or what's going on and they want to be involved, that is a success. Don't punish them for that success. Let them know every bit of detail all in one shot so that when they come, they're nice and prepared. So, you've done everything that you're supposed to do. You've done all the announcements, and now you open an invite-only lobby, and you're sitting here by yourself, and nobody's here. One thing that I would suggest doing first and foremost at this time is wait 30 minutes. Everybody is 30 minutes. I even schedule my shows 30 minutes early to make sure that people show up on time. And you can put it on a dial. So if I'm announcing an event at 6:30 and I'm there at 6:30, I know the event's going to happen at 7 o'clock. So everybody's going to be there at 7, and now we're getting invites and everybody's going to start asking me, hey, I was late, I was doing this, whatever. It happens. Give little stupid activities to the people that showed up early and reward them in some way to make sure that their event process is fun. But just come to terms with it. People are late. It's a video game. You're not the most important thing in their life. The great thing is they showed up. Give them the time to do that. Don't rule it out 2 seconds into the show. Hey, nobody showed me, nobody messaged me. It's okay. Patience is a virtue. If you're a member of a car show crew already, life can be very easy. But I see a lot of people don't use this technique, or maybe even don't even know it exists. So I'm going to show you on screen right now exactly what to do. So when you're starting your car show, you have a captive audience already. They're the people in your crew. If you're in a car show crew, hopefully, if you selected your car show crew correctly, you have a good group of people who already want to be active in a show. If you've posted an event someplace and you said, hey, everybody show up to this event, and you didn't do it on your crew page, then you failed. So what you want to do is make sure that your crew page knows what the event is just as well as your other good sources know where the event is. Then once you start, do it at least about 5 minutes ahead of the show. Then you're going to go into the online section, then select your crew. Once you're in your crew, you'll see a list of view members. And that view members will give you a list of all the players that are currently online that are in your crew. Once you click on each name, you can invite them. If the invite isn't available, show the gamer card listed in the list of options you have and select the invite option there to be able to invite to a game or any variation thereof to get them involved. This is a great feature that Rockstar added to the GTA 5 online environment, and it's also the option that nobody seems to know exists. Everybody asks me, how do you get people to a car show that are in your crew and you know where they are? It's pretty easy. I look at the crew page of the people that said, I want you to be in my crew, and I invited you. The other trick here is that if you're in a crew and you've invited half the crew to your car show and they're not showing up, you're in the wrong car show crew. Pick a show crew that people join, or at least are interested in joining, with a car show. If people just show up and leave, I'd rather them just show up and leave than never show up at all or never be online. If that page is blank, it could be a platform problem. It could be these people are just online at different times than you are. The chemistry isn't there. And if the chemistry isn't there, it's not a car show group that you want to be a part of. Not because they're bad, just because they don't fit what you're trying to accomplish. So pick a crew that's going to fit your needs, going to fit your time frame. And again, that comes with attending car shows. So if you attend a ton of car shows and you keep seeing the same crew over and over and over again, take your notes and look back and say, hey man, I kept seeing this Vinewood car show group over and over and over again at every car show. They must be really active. And sure enough, they're not my crew, but they're part of my crew list. And every time I invite members, I always get good members who are willing to play, who are serious about car shows, who have mics. They're on. So now you open your car show, and for whatever reason, 2 or 3 people showed up. Don't take it personal. Make sure that those 2 or 3 people have the best event that they've ever had in a car show. You'd be amazed at how many times I get promises for, we're going to have 20 people in the room. And guess what? 2 people show up. It happens. Whatever you do, don't discard those people. Don't look at them and say, hey, we only have 2 people here, so this car show sucks. You guys go home. Give them something to do. Here's your chance to practice. Get in there, show them how to do the car show. If these 2 people are going to go back and say, hey, you know, there were only 3 people at this car show, and it was the best car show I ever attended, and this guy's great attitude and showed some great cars, and we got creative with events, and this is stuff that would be really great with like 10 to 15 people. They're going to tell people that, and they're going to have more people come with them the next time that they show up. So reward them for doing that. Reward them for showing up. If I have any advice that I can say to a new player that has posted up a car show, and let's say it failed and nobody showed up, do not go back to the original post and announce show canceled because nobody showed. Why would you announce that you are a failure? If I had one person show up to my show, I would go back to the original announcement and say, that was the best show I ever had. Let them, everybody who's reading that post should regret not having showed up. Even if there was one person, I'll post up pictures. I'll make it look like it was the coolest show that was ever created. And people come back later and go, oh, did you see that show? That show was awesome. I can't believe that show. I missed it. Make them feel bad. Don't make them go, ooh, I'm glad I didn't show up for that show. Nobody showed. And that guy's you're never going to get anybody ever again. Why would they show up? Why would they show up to a failure show? And you're guaranteeing that you're never ever going to do a show. That's 3 months at least of damage that you're going to need to overcome. You're going to have to go back to the drawing board, re-advertise, redo everything all over again, and spin doctor yourself back into a successful show. Don't do it. If it's a failure show and you don't want to post anything, or you're going to have a pity party for yourself, fine. Go have your pity party off in the corner. Leave those people out of it because they want to have a good show and you're going to sabotage it. Stop it. It's the worst idea ever. Don't do it. Enough said. And lastly, so let's say you've done all this, you've followed all the rules, you've done everything, and it's not working. Maybe you're not cut out to be a car show host. It happens. And the beauty of this is that there will be hundreds of thousands of car shows out there that you can attend every day and just be an attendee. There's something that you're not catching. There's something in your notes that you're not reviewing or not seeing, and only time is going to help break that part of that free so that you can finally have a good show. sooner or later it will happen, but it has to happen naturally. You're not going to be able to force it. And if people aren't having fun, if they're not having a good event, if there's something, there's personalities that clash that could ruin a car show. And if that personality clash is what you have, you could be advertising in the wrong spot. There's little innuendos that just ruin it. So the trick to that is, didn't work last time, go back and attend 1,000 more car shows. Just do it. Just have fun. It can't. How can you go wrong if you're out there having fun over and over again, and sooner or later somebody looks over and says, "Hey, I think you'd be really good at hosting a car show." If that happens, you've succeeded. And host a car show, and maybe it doesn't work again. So go back and you do it again and again and again. You don't have to give up, but you also don't have to continue working with that failure and making yourself feel bad, and now you're blaming yourself when in reality it's not your fault that things aren't pushed together in a way. There's so many factors that you need to learn to say this is what makes a good car show, and that's going to be time. It may not happen in 3 months. It took me a year at least to say, okay, I'm ready to host this car show and it's ready to go. And even then, there weren't enough people out there playing that had activities. I had to reinvent the wheel and just say, hey, we're going to get in there, we're going to do some drag racing, we're going to do a car show, this is the structure of it, this is how it's going to go. And when I finally hit that mark where I was really happy and somebody went in and said, you know, this is, I remember to this day, this is the most structured car show I've ever been to. It was the most fun I've ever been to, and I'm going to go tell all my friends about it. Do you guys mind if some of my friends show up? That's success. You may not like how that success worked and how those activities went, and trust me, I do activities that I hate. I don't like them, but everybody else does, and they have a lot of fun doing it. I have just as much fun sitting on the corner of a box filming the whole show happen as these guys take these events and have fun with them. That's what it's all about, is having that social event that produces good results. And trust me, sooner or later that drag race is there and I'm in it and we're having fun, or I'm doing the car show thing and somebody votes for my car and says, your car is the best car here. And I'm the host. You can't go wrong. So stick with it, bear with it, it'll happen. It's just a matter of time. Hey, so that's all the instructions I have for today. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more awesome videos about how to both have good online car shows, but how to take your online car shows to the next level.